to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor, and I'm still pressing forward. Nothing's changed since yesterday, other than I do feel like I've been doing too much. So sometimes I wonder if you guys listen and you're like, doesn't she see it? She's got to slow down, But living our own lives, it's hard to see what we're doing in our own lives that might be wrong. Those of you who are able to see the video, Autumn is saying hello. So, um, it's better than barking because that's what she was just doing. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Go lay down. We're going to have podcast time. It's podcast time. She totally understands me. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about a couple things that came up in my meetings this morning, and they were both along the same lines, which is about being of service. But more than that, it's about what it feels like when you're like a couple, even, I feel like there are times in sobriety when we start feeling like, I don't feel like going to a meeting. Like, I get it. Okay, I get it. I get it. Everybody's saying the same thing. I don't need a meeting. I just want to I want to just enjoy my new life. I have a happy life. I just want to go enjoy it. I don't feel like sitting in a meeting for an hour. So it's like when meetings feel like a chore. And what are some things that we can think about to get us to feel a little more inspired to go when we feel like that? And then outside of that, but kind of correlated, is living the principles beyond the rooms, beyond the meetings, and all of our affairs. So the both meetings aligned with each other this morning, which I always love when that happens. What really spoke to me, like right out of the bat, was that feeling of I don't know that I ever, this is bad to say, maybe. I don't know if I ever was like super excited to get to a meeting. I can say, like, these days, I do think like it's time to check it off the list. It's not like I can't wait to talk about being drunk and why I'm sober now, but it's like I am looking forward to taking my medicine. I know that you know what? It's like going to get dry needling this morning. I was not necessarily looking forward to the action of getting the needles jabbed into my muscles, but I was looking forward to the impact that it has afterwards. And even same day, I don't necessarily feel better after I get dry needled, but the next day I do feel better. And that's kind of how my sobriety works too. It's not like I go to the meetings. It's funny to compare it to dry needling because as soon as I walk out of dry needling, I feel kind of exhausted. My muscles are feeling more fatigued. And I was wondering if that's a thing, and I looked it up and it sounded like it's a thing. And she even said it might be good to rest on days that I get dry needling. And when but I also feel relieved that I did it. And there's some manual manipulation that she does to my back and today to my shoulder and my neck that I do feel relieved afterwards. And like that, going to a sobriety meeting, um, sometimes the impacts are not right away, but I can utilize some of the stuff that I heard later in the day or throughout, when I am out enjoying my new life, there may be something that comes up that I can be like, oh, this is what this person said, and this is very relatable right now. So maybe I can apply the same principles that he's talked about in the meeting, and it'll get me through the situation. So um, the spark may dim, that excitement about going to a meeting, or the looking forward to getting an immediate return on the meeting. That can get dimmer and brighter throughout my sobriety. I feel like in early sobriety, it was pretty dim. It wasn't, well, I was mostly dreading more than looking forward to it because I had so much anxiety that I was dealing with. So showing up to a meeting really triggered that anxiety, and I didn't look forward to it. But later on, I started to be able to feel pretty immediately some of the soothing effects of going to a meeting. But then later on, maybe a year in, a couple years in, I started to like the experience gets pretty normalized, and that's what happens in long-term recovery. And I don't think it means necessarily that there's something wrong, but it could mean that something's right. And what happens sometimes is when we feel that something is right, when we feel like something is working, we feel like, okay, maybe I can take a break. And it's just like taking anxiety medication, where they say, don't stop taking it without talking to your doctor first. It's really, I think it's the same thing. Don't stop going to the meetings. Only there is no do this first. It's just don't. Don't stop going to me. Or call your sponsor, you know. I I think I recently shared about one of my friends in my recovery has stopped going to meetings, and it's been really bothering me. And I think that's why this focus today was helpful to me, um, because I feel like my friend is feeling that way, where I think the spark has dimmed. I feel like my friend is thinking, okay, my life is going good and I'm here. I've made it. So I can back off of that and then try something new, like lean into my faith or just practice the principles that I've learned. I don't need to go learn them more. I already know what they are. And that is a dangerous place to be. That's where I hear so many people relapse. So many people relapse when they stop going to meetings. And what I heard this morning that I really love is, if you're not inspired to go to a meeting for yourself, go to a meeting to give back to the other people who are waiting for you when you log on or when you walk into the door. So that emotional sobriety that was gifted to me by going to meetings and reading the literature and stopping drinking and living a balanced, honest life with intention, that gift can go away. It can. If I don't work at it, it's going to go away. It just is. I have to work at it every single day or it goes away. And even days that I work at it, I still feel off sometimes. And sometimes I feel like, yes, I am living well, and I am inspired and I am volunteering, I'm being of service, all of those things, all the right things, like I was talking about yesterday. Um, but just because I'm human, I can be doing all of the right things and still feel wrong. Like, we're so complex. And all I know is that for the past 9 years, I have been doing the same thing. The one thing that I've done consistently in my life is show up to meetings. And I actually show up to more meetings now in 9 years of sobriety than I was going to in 5 years of sobriety. It has increased for me. As my life gets complicated, my meetings and me working the program and practicing the principles it increases for me. That's the way I think it's supposed to work. Gratefully, that's the way that it has worked for me. But emotional sobriety isn't just not picking up a drink and going to meetings. It's living the principles. And that's something that we learn in the program, that the principles are a way of life. And there are some steps in the 12 steps, there's some of them that stand out a little more to me as steps that instill those the honesty and the humility and the patience and restraint of pen and tongue and help me with the relationships. Like some of them stand out to me as ways like that I can leverage in my life and that I can leverage as a parent, that I can leverage as back when I was working as an employee, as a coworker. There's lots that I can leverage as a family member. And I've even found over the past 9 years, there are some that I can leverage to deal with strangers. And sometimes, depending on the situation, I may forget. And there's one in particular that stands out in my mind. And those of you who are longtime listeners, you may remember this. One time I went to Home Depot and there was a man that was walking across the parking lot and he was in my blind spot and I didn't see him. So I went ahead and went and I wasn't speeding or anything like that. I just went and it was not allowing him to walk in front of the car. And he yelled at me and my window was down and he kind of called me a name or something like that. It was like a personal attack for sure. Like I was a bad person, not just what I did, but me as a person. I can't remember what it was that he said, but I was so pissed off. Like I immediately snapped at him in a way that I was trying to say to him, you don't know anything about me. Like that's not, I didn't see you, you know? And I was really offended that he talked to me that way. If I was practicing the principles in all of my affairs, I would have kept my mouth shut. Um, or maybe something else. I think what I what I should have done is kept my mouth shut because it's really what he thinks of me is none of my business. And I know that it was not intentional and I did not need to turn around and snap at him. That's a really small example, but when I am going to meetings on a daily basis and I have interactions with people, those principles are living on the surface as well as internally. So what I mean by they're living on the surface means that I feel that they can stop me from reacting in a situation like that. So there are small acts that we do that even those should be done with intention. And my husband always says to do everything. I don't remember the exact words, but do everything to the best of your ability. It's kind of like what your parents say. And but he brings it to a whole new level. And I'm talking like putting out the recycling. For example, we got a letter from the HOA that says we're no longer going to take boxes in there expanded form that you need to break down the boxes and I don't know, just break down the boxes. So what he takes this directive to be is an opportunity to show how perfectly he can break down the boxes and fit them all into one box. And so every week, it never fails. When we put the recycling out, he has spent time making this perfect um, uh, pile of boxes that are just completely broken down perfectly and aligned perfectly. It's wild. And we laugh and he's like, these recycling people are probably like, this guy gives a whole new meaning to doing your best at everything that you do. And what it does is it makes life easier for the recycling people. I mean, when it comes down to it, that's what it's doing. But I bet you it's also making them smile. I bet you that's what it's doing. And so these little small acts that we do in our lives, when we bring the principles forward into our lives, they tend to they impact other people. If it's not just, I didn't yell at the Home Depot guy, it would have been that if I had practiced that principle in that affair. I wouldn't have probably just exacerbated his anger, but we practice the principles, they make us feel better. I would have not stewed on that for days, probably days. And we impact other people, making their lives easier, not causing them stress. Somebody mentioned in my meeting this morning to smile at strangers, and I do smile at strangers. I know that that's not something everybody likes to do, but I do. And there's this one neighbor of mine. She never smiles at me. Never. She's never smiled at me. I'm lucky if she will even move her eyes and look at me to say hello. I don't know what the issue is. Maybe she just doesn't like to talk to neighbors. She definitely like just is never interacting with anybody. But I try so hard to break her. I want her to smile, but I just can't, I can't seem to do it. But um, this is, I think, an example of showing up with integrity, even when nobody's watching, right? I can smile at her, even if she's not looking back, even if she doesn't want to look back at me. It makes me feel better. There was a time, and I try not to do this anymore. I'm probably not perfect, but when I used to feel a little resentful that she wouldn't look at me and smile. But you know what? It's not my problem. It's not my business, really. It's been almost 5 years now, and she won't smile at me. But I have a feeling she won't smile at anybody. And that's too bad because I feel like I'm going to continue to do the next right thing. And that is that I'm going to put a smile on my face, even if I'm not going to get it back. And for me, that's practicing the principles in all of my affairs, simply put. So going back to meetings and rekindling that purpose of going to meetings. I get it that meetings can feel repetitive. Um, if you're going to the same meeting every single morning, like I am, it can feel repetitive, but for some reason, I feel filled when I show up. It's kind of like I'm just showing up to sit at the breakfast table with my family. That's what it feels like. And sometimes we have something new to say, and sometimes we don't. But we all get to sit down for an hour and talk about hope, talk about our experience, strength, and hope. And what I need to remember, and I'm pretty good at remembering, is that even though I've been sitting at the breakfast table for 9 years, doesn't mean that the other people that are there have been sitting there that long. And maybe it feels repetitive to me. It doesn't feel repetitive to them. This could be the first time that they are hearing hope. Um, so when you lose the drive to go for yourself, go for those in the room. Your presence there could be exactly what somebody there needs. And it's the least that I can do to give back. It's the least that I can do to go to a meeting and give back and share my experience, strength, and hope, because I'm not just an attendee, I am a vessel for the message that was so freely given to me. It's my responsibility to give it to the next person. Um, Being of service, that is being of service. When I can show up and be that vessel, I'm being of service. There is, of course, other ways that we can be of service. We can do some kind of quiet service, like making coffee, or if you're going to in-person meetings, setting up the chairs or getting the literature out to put on the chairs. You name it. Like there's even showing up to meetings and not having a specific service position, just being there before the meeting starts and saying hi when people walk in, that is absolutely being of service, because I remember those days. I remember walking into meetings and there was hardly anybody there, but people said hi to me and it made me feel like I was in the right place, like that I was welcomed. And those types of service positions, these small things about just showing up, there are ways to be of service that don't necessarily drain us, but it does sustain our emotional sobriety. And it gives that spiritual nourishment, that connection that I was talking about yesterday that I need so much. There's a lot of people out there that suffer from lack of connection. And just being available, being present, the simple act of showing up allows those people to have that connection, but it also puts you right in the center of your program. You don't have to be standing at the podium to be a messenger, and living the principles in all of your affairs is also a way of spreading the message, of showing people this is how I do it. You know, there's always people watching us, seeing how we do things, um and like comparing, you know, as good or bad as it is. I wish I was more like that, you know? Oh, I'm glad I'm not like that. You know what I mean? And I like to try to live the principles the best that I can. And of course, I show up here like yesterday. I show up here sometimes and I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't, I'm not happy. I feel empty. I feel bored. I feel irritated. I feel restless, irritable, and discontent. Those were the words. Um, but I think it's important some days to show up and say that, so that we can all think about that, like reflect on that, pause and think, where in my life do I need to give a little more? Where in my life do I need to get a little more? And that way, the next time you might be feeling that way, it will encourage you to stop and think the same thing. So, I really, more than anything, wanted to convey a message that says, like, the next time you feel like you don't want to go to a meeting, whether it's a stroke support meeting, a vestibular disorder support meeting, a sobriety meeting, whatever is happening in your life, the next time you don't want to go anyway. I talked about that, I think, yesterday. Go anyway. Somebody might be waiting for you to show up. Somebody might need you to show up. And if we can get out of self and show up, then maybe we can become more aware of that. But when I'm self-centered and I'm thinking, I don't want to go, it is self-centered. It's like, I'm not going to give back. You might as well be saying, I don't want to give back to the program that saved my life. That's really what it is for me. So I'm going to keep that in mind the next time I feel like, I don't really want to go, or I don't feel like sharing today. I'm going to share anyway because somebody might need to hear what I have to say. So that's what I've got for you today. Big day today. I'm going to the movie theater with my niece, and I'm going to do the audio description headset again. And I think we're going to go see Megan 2.0. I think that's what we're going to see. Not terribly enthusiastic about the movie, but she said it's funny. So I'll take it. I think she said she saw Megan 1.0 and she said it was funny. So I'm going to enjoy it no matter what. I know that for sure. I'm super excited to sit next to my niece for 2 hours and just enjoy her company and have some junk food. I love junk food. And speak of her, I just got a text from her. I think she was going to confirm that they have audio description headsets at the theater that we're going to go to. So thank you for joining me today, as always, and I will talk to you tomorrow.